Ladies and gents, wanted to make a video to update you on what happened in Titans League Silver Season 4, which players then qualified for Gold Season 4, and then what things look like with the Gold brackets and with the Platinum brackets as Titans League is coming in early 2025, all right? So we're going to keep this a little breezy because we're overviewing everything. But there were 11 players who qualified to Gold this season via Silver, and we're just going to overview that real quick. So we had Lewis qualifying in Group A. Lucho winning Group B. Lewis, kind of like a new generation player, has been really active the last year or two. All the time and effort has paid off. Lucho, 18 or 19 years old, really active the last year or two, has been getting better and better. Practice and effort paid off for him. Rapard won in Group C. Rapard beat Stark, who has been in Gold League in the past, 3-2 in a banger series. And then he swept Beery in the final to get in. Rapard's been around a very long time. He was actually in Gold already previous season. Got relegated out, but that's worth noting. Another young Argentinian qualifies in Group D in Prisma. It's funny, he and Lucho both in the past very disappointed they didn't make it into TTL Gold. Got past their disappointment now and they make it into TTL Gold. Z40, a player who, actually this is unfortunate because he didn't even play this series because Bad Quality didn't show up. I'm not going to get angry about that because we got to move on. But Z40 wasn't Gold before. And I think he was the favorite in that series, or at least had the skills to win. So he's back in Gold. Overtaken. Titans League followers will know. Overtaken. It feels like every single time he makes it into Gold, it's like he's one win or loss away from staying alive. He's like the unluckiest player in Titans League history. He makes it back. Stone Please AoE didn't lose a single game the entire qualifier. This guy's good. This guy's really good, and he's super prepped. He beat a 2K1, he beat a 2K4 or 2K5, and then Dudozu, who beat the first seed, who's 2K5 or 2K6, then got swept. So Stone Please looks very good. Say My Name makes it back to TTL. He's been around for 15 years. I don't think he practices at all, but he shows up, and the dude's he's just around. He's just good. I'm excited to see him back in Gold. Another young gun, Sizcon. Same deal. Previous Titans League, previous years. He's been waiting for an opportunity to rise up. He's been 2K5, 2K6 on the ladder. Finally gets his chance and makes it into Gold. Deeker in the same boat from Argentina. Taking out the famous Red Phosphor, then taking out Gookie. And ultimately winning the final. And then the final group, this was an interesting one because I felt like Gabby has a lot of fans. And people thought Gabby could do well. Sorakuma has a lot of fans. And I thought Sorakuma would actually win the group. But Wide, he won 3-2 over Sorakuma. It was a really great series. And if you don't know a lot about Wide, he's on the younger side. He's like 20 or 21, and he's one of Vinch's like understudies, one of Vinch's pupils. Another one was Antagonist, who I think lost somewhere in here. Anyways, he lost in here, but that's unimportant. The point is, we got a lot of new talent coming through. Okay, so reminder of how Titans League works. Titans League, you have 4 groups in each league in Gold and Platinum, and you play every player one time in a play all 3. You get a point for every single win. And then at the end of the group, your placement determines what happens. So if you're bottom 2, you get relegated. So in this case, in Gold, would mean you get kicked out of Gold back to Silver for the next year, and you have to do the whole qualification thing again. 4th spot means you stay alive. 1st spot means you get immediately promoted to Platinum for the next season. 2 and 3 spot go into playoffs, right? So Group A, we have 3 players who were promoted from Titans League Silver. They're going to be the ones who are going to, in theory, struggle to stay alive the most. Vivi, Sobek, and Slam have looked really good in previous Titans League seasons. Vivi and Sobek just got relegated out of Platinum. Slam almost made it to platinum. So I would say these three are the top three. And then maybe it's a fight between Deke or Lucho and Overtaken. I'm going to lean towards Overtaken. Argentina's not going to like that. I think there's a lot of potential for Deeker and Lucho, but they got to prove it to everybody in that group. Group B, also an interesting one. So we have also 3 players that were promoted from Silver, as we just saw. That would be Wide, Rapard, and Prisma. Rapard, though, was in gold before, so that could, in theory, put him a slight step up in your mind, maybe. Then you have Mihai, who almost made plat. He's got to be maybe the favorite for the group. Then you have Miguel, who's been around forever. I'm not sure what shape he's going to have, but I think he's good to at least stay alive in gold. And then you have Draken, former platinum boy. He named himself Mr. Platinum in the previous season, which didn't age too well because he got relegated. But anyways, I think you've got a pecking order. I think you have Mihai, Miguel, and Draken fighting for the top 3 spots. And then Prisma, Rapard, and Wide fighting for the other spots. Ultimately, I would probably say Prisma's probably bottom 2 because he probably lacks some experience. But the rest I'm not really too sure on because honestly, I have no clue what type of shape Miguel's going to have either. So I would be surprised if Draken and Mihai get relegated. The rest is wide open in gold. Okay, Group C. So again, well, sorry, not again. So we have 2 players in this group that were just promoted from Silver. So we have Sizcon and Z40. Z40 was in gold before and looked very good in my opinion. I think he was even in the same group as Target before, which is interesting. But Kingston and Running are really good, like well-established tournament players. I think they're going to do big things. Lan had like 13 wins the previous gold season or something. If he shows that shape again, he could definitely win the group. And then Target, funnily enough, I find he's very similar to Z40, where he's slow, but he's strategic. So I think that Target and Z40 will be very well prepped. And then maybe like someone like Sizcon is the more skilled player, where if he doesn't prepare, he'll be in the bottom 2. No clue. I would say the 3 I would expect to stay alive in this group would be Kingston, Land, and Running. But Land's in the same situation as Miguel. I have no clue what his shape is. I don't know how much he's playing. There's life. There's work. We'll see. All right, and then Group D. We have Ganji, Kasva, Lewis, Lix, Say My Name, and then Stone Please. And so 3 players up from Silver. Say My Name, the player who's been around so many years, super consistent. And Lewis and Stone Please have never been in gold before. This, like making it to gold, I think would probably be their best tournament result ever. So then it's a question of, can they stay? Really tough group. Like, Kasva at his peak is really good. Ganji at his peak is probably a platinum player. Lix at his peak is probably platinum player. Say My Name at his peak, maybe platinum player. But you have like Kasva and Say My Name Say My Name and Lix are kind of like the old pros. Maybe Kasva's looped into that category. And then Ganji, super well-rounded. So I actually think this is the hardest group. Real quick, Twitch chat. Which group in D do you think is the hardest group to stay alive in? Like the closest competition-wise. We got to move on to Platinum. C is really, really good. A and B have a little bit more of a pecking order in my mind because the 3 promoted players maybe don't have quite as much experience. But yeah, maybe Group D or maybe Group C. And then quick reminder on how that works. So the player who's first in each group immediately goes to Platinum next season. And then someone who's in second place plays someone who's in third place. Someone who's in third place plays someone who's in second place in a mini playoff to decide the final 2 people that get qualified. And should mention as well, the prize pool is double for gold. It's 15,000. Oh, you can't see that. Anyways, it's 15,000 for group, and you could see the placement prizes there. as well as getting $20 per map win, which can add up over time. So this is way more than we were able to justify before. All right, and that takes us to Platinum. Now, something I need to mention about how we grouped this compared to previous seasons. Seasons 2 and 3, we obviously based the placement of players based on the previous season's position, but we based it on group stage. We didn't base it on playoffs. Going forward, we're basing the player positions on playoffs. The reason that's important is because we had a situation where I think in like the second season of Titans League, we had Viper, Tato, and Leary in the same group. And so it was inevitable that a top 5 player would be a third place, a top 5 player would be a second place, and then a first. So what ended up happening was we based it on the playoffs. Playoffs is obviously about winning the whole thing. Balanced out a little bit better. So, Group A, we have Doubt, Leary, Margugu, Sebastian, Dragonstar, and Yo. You're very quickly reminded just how good these players are and how many good players we have at the top, because that's a crazy group. Margugu and Dragonstar were the players that were promoted. No, Sebastian was also promoted. Yeah. So Sebastian was also promoted because he won his group the previous season. Bottom 2 in that group is probably Margugu and Dragonstar, but it's really competitive for the top with Doubt, Leary, Sebastian, and Yo. Margugu said, before the draw, by the way, he said, I would love to be in Doubt's group. He's like, because Doubt is either going to be overconfident versus me, or he's going to get tilted if he loses to me. Or, Margugu had this long theory on why that was good for him. So looking forward to seeing those games. Group B, Barles, Classic Pro, Hera, Nikov, Sito, and Veleza. Crazy to say, maybe Veleza's bottom 2, just because he hasn't been as active. Classic Pro's probably favored to be bottom 2, but has always played very, very good in Titans League. You expect someone like Hera to be near the top of his group for sure, probably to win the group. But maybe some questions like this feels like this group is for the taking beyond Hera, in my opinion. Because there can be some potential inconsistencies there. Really, really good group in Group B. Group C is ACCM, Capoch, Dogao, MBL, Tato, and Vinchester. Whew, man, these groups, dude. Oh, man. All insanely stacked players. Again, who are the 2 weakest players in Group C? Probably Capoch and Dogao. Maybe you could incorporate MBL into that, depending on the day. He's kind of struggled a bit in Titans League. But then Vinchester got relegated. Vinchester won the first season, and then in the second season, got relegated down to the third season. So I have no clue what to do with that group. Should be really fun and competitive there. And then we got Group D, which is comprised of Daniel, Dark, Andy, Hart, Viper, and Valis, where Freak and Andy played really well in the previous seasons of Titans League. So I'm excited to see if he can repeat that. Dark played amazing in Gold Season 3 and looked fairly smooth. So I think... Wait, did Dark get promoted? Or did he stay alive? I'm forgetting that now. I think he actually stayed alive in the previous season. Either way, this group actually has a lot more questions for me because Valis has been less active and could be insane, but you don't know. Freaking Andy can be insane, but you don't know. Dark and Daniel can be insane, but you don't know. I think the main 2 that I could look at in Group D in terms of consistency over the past year is Viper and Hart. And honestly, Viper in group stage can sometimes struggle a little bit, or maybe meme a little bit, depending. Like, I don't think Viper's ever gotten more than 12 wins. Whereas, like, I think Hera got, like, 13 and, like, 14 and whatnot. The point is like, Hart is probably going to look at some of those sets as good opportunities for him. So we'll see. And then, from there, the first place players in each group go immediately to the quarters. The second and third place players in each group go into the playoffs against, second or third place player, and the playoff bracket plays out. And eventually we have a champion. We have a third place match. We have the usual stuff there. Main thing to mention is it's $40 per game one, which should be listed somewhere. Yeah, so $40 per game one, and then there's the prize pool placement as well, for a total of like 35K, 33K, for just Platinum League. So will be exciting. Like, the beauty of Titans League is it's fun to watch the playoffs, but it's also fun to watch the players try and survive, and stick around. Players may also change their strategy somewhat. Like, if you're up against Hera, you might want to draft fully around, like, getting one win. That could actually be smart. It's like you ban and pick everything to try and design it so you get at least one win. Because other people might not get one win. Certain players might view it that way. So yeah. Those are the groups. Lots of things to come. We're working very hard on having a proper prediction contest for this, which we had in the past. Fantasy teams, which we had in the past. We've hit some roadblocks on that, so hopefully we'll have that stuff ready at least for Platinum League, which starts in 2 weeks. Gold League technically starts now, and we'll be doing our best to cover some gold when we can. But that won't be... There will be some overlap with Gold League and Platinum. And once Platinum begins, it'll be like 4 days every week where I cover every single series. I don't miss a single one. And maybe 1 day that week where I do gold. Final thing to mention on that whole topic, the gold playoff. So the way we're structuring coverage is like the last week of gold, which is like the do or die week, right? Like the stay alive or be relegated week. That will have coverage. That's the most important week. And then the playoffs will have coverage. So we get to see the second, third place stuff play out with gold. That will not overlap with platinum whatsoever. And then plat, you see everything. So that's basically it. More info to come on that. Those are the group breakdowns. YouTube, let me know which groups you seem to think are the groups of death. Which groups could potentially lead to the most excitement. My thinking in plat, because I didn't say it yet, is C the group of death? Or is A the group of death? Or is B the group of death? I don't think it's D. D is the group of uncertainty. D is the group of we could have our minds absolutely blown or not. Like, if one group were to be top heavy, maybe it would be group D. But I think A, if I had to... Okay, final answer. Group A is probably the group of death for Titans League Season 4.